Well, welcome. I'm excited about this Design for Destiny program on air. My name is Cletus Bassey. I belong to Destiny International that you find here, that you find at 906 Avenue A in Keddie. You're welcome to this wonderful and exciting moment on television. Wherever you are, I want you to let your friends know that God is right here. God is working great signs and wonders and miracles. You can never lack where God is there. If He is there, then everything is available. Miracles, signs, wonders, blessings, increase, breakthrough, anything that you need, God is able to provide. Are you ready to take part of what God is doing in this season? You must have to know that every season God orchestrates things that only Himself can make happen. And sometimes we go to church, but we lose out on touch of what God is doing. Sometimes you are there in church, but you are not hearing God. You know, the church that was in the days of Eli, they were doing all the religious things, but they were not hearing the voice of God. They were there, the singers were singing, the priests were offering their sacrifices. People were coming. They were so happy because they saw the priests with all their, clothing and all of that. But it was all facade. God was not there. The voice of the owner of the house was lacking. And that is what you find today in our world, that in places we go to church, but we cannot see the owner of the church. People have become those who have taken over with titles and big names and all kinds of activities and all of that. But the connection between heaven and earth, there's a missing link. I want to welcome you to this moment as we begin to search our hearts and ask ourselves pertinent questions. How much is God in the church? How much is God? How much of God do we find in the church? Come on now. How much of God do we find in the church? Oh, yes, because we have wonderful lights. And when you go to some churches, lights and all of that sound, everything, boom, looking beautiful. And I like it because it shows a great level of excellence. But behind the lights, behind the sound, behind the dance and all the articulations, do you hear God? Do you hear God for yourself? Do you hear God speaking to you? Is your heart pricked? Can you say, He touched me. He touched me and made me whole. He touched me and my life is made whole. He touched me, and who I used to be yesterday, I'm no more that person. Something changed in me. Because where the presence of the mighty King is, people come by themselves. Sometimes you don't have to make altar calls. Oh yes, we need to make altar calls when necessary, and almost every time we finish preaching. But wouldn't you be happy to see that in the middle of your message, in the middle of the service, in the middle of no way in the church, people are crying out to the altar because they can hear Him. They're hearing the Master inviting them, and they want to make their lives make meaning, make their lives count, because the voice of the Lord is reaching out to them. I came this very day to say to us that God is calling us to be timekeepers. Timekeepers. The very, very reason why God has called the church is that the church will become the one that rings the bell. Hear the sound of the prophet or the sound of the trumpet. That God is calling the church to an assemblage where we come for an assignment, responsibility to begin to reach out to a dying world. In Destiny International Mission, 906 Avenue A in Keddie, we want you to encounter God for yourself. We want you to hear God for yourself. Because there is a time that the pastor will not be there. There is that moment that the elder will not be there. The usher will not be there. The song writers and the singers and the instruments and all of that will not be there. You are facing realities. And the only way you can say, I am ready for the world that we are moving into, is that your spirit is in tune with the Spirit of the living God. Your spirit is in tune with the Spirit of God. And you can say, I hear him. I sense him. I know him. Jesus said, my sheep hears my voice. They know my voice. The voice of a stranger, they will never follow. But today, have you seen how people follow, moving from one church to another church, from this one to another one? They move. When a new pastor comes into town, oh, that is the pastor that is now the in pastor. And so you see people running up and down like water in the ship or in the canoe. No. Why do we have believers that are not stable, tossed to and fro at every wind of doctrine? It's because they themselves don't know why they were raised in church. You were raised in the church to become a carrier of the voice of God. You are a container of God. You are a container of God. You are a container of God. And when you have something that is being contained in a vessel, that thing becomes honorable based on what is in the container. And if you are a container of God and you carry him on your inside, then there are certain things that should not be heard around you. There are certain problems that, the devil comes and kicks him out, because you know that in this place, this is God's territory. He lives in me. He walks in me. He walks in me. He lives in me. Jesus, the Son of the living God, he lives in me. I am his headquarters. I am the dwelling place of God. Jesus said, if you receive me, he said, my Father and I, he said, we will come and we will be with you. So you are a watchman. You are called to be a timekeeper. But whose time are you keeping? So we found that in the book of Habakkuk chapter 2. And he said, I will stand at my watch and set myself on the rampart and watch to see what he will say to me. So when you watch to see, what do? You announce. You say it. This is what the Lord is saying. You announce what God is asking you to announce to your neighbor, to announce to that person in the office, to announce to that person on campus with you, to announce to that person that is in your neighborhood. I will stand at my watch. Child of God, the Church of Jesus Christ was raised to be the watchman who will have to know the time, what things are going on. And he said, I will answer when I am corrected. Then look at the verse number 2 of Habakkuk chapter 2. Now they said, then the Lord answered me and said, write the vision. That means you've seen well. And make it plain on the tablet, that he may run who reads it. So you see, the work of a timekeeper is to bring records, is to awaken the people, is to blow the trumpet, is to get them to know that God is doing something. When you are a timekeeper and you don't understand how to keep the time, then people will not be able to walk according to the timing of God in their lives. I give you an example. I don't know if you were in school like I was in a village school. In my village school, we had a timekeeper in our church, in our school. I could remember from the primary school in those days into the senior high, we used to have timekeepers, those who would ring the bell and you could hear the bell, So in this place that the bell is, the person that is in charge will always keep to that time. The time for devotion. For those of us who were, in missionary schools, they will ring the bell and this is a time for devotion. So you go out for devotion. Then you hear the time and you will know that this is the time for, the first class. And then the first class is over, the second class. The timekeeper is able to keep to the time so that things can run up properly, so that things that have been assigned can begin to be regulated. A timekeeper is a regulator that understands the timing of the different activities in a given place, so that when he is ringing that bell, when he is calling them out, they all know this is what the time is about. And time that is break time. Everybody knows it's time for break. And so we all gonna go look for something to eat or to drink or something, and then come back to the class. And then I remember what they used to call the prep time. After school is over, and then time to go eat, to go sleep, and then come back to class to come and study. And then that is over, and then you have another time that you now know is time for sports. So all of us go to the field. Those who want to do sports will go there and do all of that. And the time rings again, it's time for dinner. So everybody goes to where you eat, what we used to call refectory. You go there to eat. The timekeeper rings the bell again, and everybody knows time out. It's time to sleep. And you cannot say you won't sleep. You can't put on any other light, because every light must have to go off. Everyone goes to sleep. That is I told you I went to a local school in our local place. So you see, the timekeeper is there to make sure that everything works according to plan. And something that really got to me is that it does not matter who you are. When the time rings, when that ring, you hear the ringing of that bell, of that timer, everyone falls in line. Those who are like principal of the school, those who are teachers, the students, the workers, everyone obeys the clock. Everyone obeys the time. Why? Because that time when it rings, there's something that you must have to do, and you must have to obey that time. So when God raised the church, he raised the church to be timekeepers for him, whereby we know what are the things, what is God planning to do. What is the plan of God in our time? What is the plan of God? What is the program of God in our seasons? And so, but you see, because the church was not careful to have understood this, to some extent, we have left out our responsibilities to have stood in the place of prayer and intercession and connect to the altar of God, whereby we are hearing the voice of God and understanding the mind of the Father for that particular time. And so many people can't fall in line because there's nobody that's keeping to time. Nobody's ringing the bell. Nobody's helping people to know what the time is about. So I strongly believe that God is calling the church back. The Lord is calling the church back so that he can begin to help us to know how to keep to time, to bring the world back to that place where they understand what the church ought to do, what the people ought to do. And so a timekeeper is an instrument or a person that measures the passage of time. So you leave tracks of events. When you are a timekeeper, you make sure that everyone falls in line. You see, it is a device that shows time and the pieces of time and what events are to take place. God is calling the church back to that place, that you could find the church and many people don't even know what is going on. So God is calling you in your family to be a timekeeper. What is God saying to your people in your family? What is God saying to people in your neighborhood? You see, sometimes when you don't have the person that is blowing the trumpet, calling the people, getting them to know things, they themselves will begin to be victims, because you may not even be able to escape yourself. One who keeps records of activities, time taken and time remaining during an event. What is the time now? What is the time from the time that Jesus left to when we are now and the coming back of Jesus Christ? So you see, timekeeping is very important, because it is a responsibility that has a major effect on everyday's life. In everyday's life, the responsibility, we need to know what is God calling us to do. And I'm calling on somebody here today. I don't know where you are. I don't know what is going on with you. But I'm saying to you, in the name of Jesus, God does not want you to miss out on your timing. You see, being punctual and have the ability to organize plan ahead of an oncoming task or activity or work, whereby you are able to prioritize the important and urgent task first. God wants us to come to that place where we understand what is the mind of the Father, and then we know what are the activities, the tasks that God has given to us as a people. You know, most of the times what I've come to realize is that many people always think about themselves. They don't think about what is the mind of the Father for me. What is the plan of God in my family? What is the plan of God for my church? And so we are only just coming in, oh, we have a pastor that we pay, and so it is a paid job, and so we pay him to do everything. Pay him to pray, pay him to preach, pay him to go and do witnessing, pay him to do everything. No, you must have to know that you are part of what God is doing, and then make yourself available in the thing that God is planning to do. I believe that there's a prophetic call, there's a prophetic sound, there's a prophetic move of God in this season. That God is saying to the church, wake up to their prophetic assignment. Wake up to their prophetic calling. Wake up to your prophetic signs. We must begin to understand this, because God wants us to complete our task. We must be able to reach out to people and get things going, because time is not waiting for any man. Time lost can never be regained. So we must not leave room for the enemy to keep doing things anyhow. We must rise up to intercede. What is the time now? It's time to intercede. It's time to cry out to God and to say to God, restore your presence in the church. Restore your presence, oh God. Restore signs and wonders and miracles, oh God. We will never race as a church to be arguing with the devil to see how to negotiate our destinies. No, he said, cast out the devil. Cast out the devil. Heal the sick. You see, but today, how many sick people are we healing? How many demons and devils are we casting out? We have found ourselves trying to negotiate destinies with the devils of our times and demons of our times. That is not what God called us to. God called us to take charge. We are to take charge. We are to be in control. We are to be the people that will have to decide what is going to happen in our world. So I challenge you today. What effect have you really brought into the kingdom since you knew Jesus? What other thing have you done since you knew Jesus? You know, if we do not understand the importance of timekeeping, we may just be seeing things happening anyhow. But you see, you need to know that you have to make schedules to direct, for direction per time. Time helps you to know direction. Oh, this is where to go at this time. This is what to do at this time. Because you see, time helps you to set boundaries, whereby time brings discipline to you. You see, when people can go to work early, but they don't mind going to church late. Why? Because it's an aspect of boundary they have not set for themselves. Knowing that this time is important and it is God who owns this time, I must have to make this time work. So when you don't know how to understand what your time is about, you wouldn't know how to set boundaries for yourself. You don't know how to have discipline. You see, we repeat things. We procrastinate over many things. Why? Because we are not timekeepers. God is calling you to know how to set that time for yourself so that you can deliver at the right time. You can deliver on your words and the appointment. So God is calling us to be able to see how to become disciplined people. The church must come back to the place of discipline. Discipline in terms of how we do things and our words be our bond. God is calling the church back to that place. Many people don't see the need, nor do they understand what God is doing, because for them, that is not what is important to them. But I am sharing this with you today because I believe timekeepers are those who are the most disciplined people. Timekeepers are those who know how to set boundaries about anything. They know how to help people have the right kind of direction. We need to have direction so that the people will know where to go and what to do. And so time will help you not to be distracted, because you see, distraction is everywhere. Distractions here, distractions there. People are just, into different things, and then before you know it, they leave the main thing that they're supposed to have been doing. So God is calling the church to begin to help us set back the time of intercession, time of worship, time of great discipline, raising our families, family time, coming back to that altar moment of family altar, whereby we are able to bring back family altar, raise family altar. And I know that, someone was saying something the other day. He said, you can do family altar maybe in Africa, but not in America. Why? Because mother works in the morning, daddy works in the night. When this one comes in, the other person is out. Children are here, children are there, and they cannot have a time to pray together. And I said, that's not true. Is there ever a moment where daddy, mommy, and everybody is in the house? Is there ever a moment that you have daddy and mommy together and brothers and sisters are together? That is the time to plan your family time, your altar time. That you could have that time. It could be once in a week. It may not be every day, but everyone must be able to have their own time of prayer so that they know how to approach God and be sure that the purpose of God is fulfilled within their lives. My greatest desire, having known Jesus for so many years, is how much we lose Jesus without even noticing that we've lost him. Because you see, many people don't care about the voice of God and what God is saying, and off they go. But I am asking you today that sometimes you need help. You need to know how to ask people for help. Those who know what to do. There are people around us. There are those who feel, well, nobody knows anything about me. No, God knows everything about you. And God has people around you that can help you. Recognize that there are people that God has set in place to help you, and ask for help. If God himself would ask for help, why wouldn't you ask for help? I recall, in the scriptures where God wanted his own son to come to the world. What did he do? They should have dropped him from heaven like Terminator 1 and 2. How many of you have watched that movie, Terminator? Oh yes, it's a beautiful movie some years back. So wouldn't God have dropped them from heaven like Terminator 1 and 2 dropped in from the sky? No, God, because God is a principled God, he's a legal God. He's not an illegal person. So God needed somebody's womb. And then he had to send the angel to speak to Mary. And as Holy Mary, the Lord God of heaven needs your womb for what is coming. If God could seek and need help and would ask humans to assist him, how much more you? We try to make things look as if, if anybody knows I have a need, oh, what a shame. No, there's nothing shameful about you telling people about what you need. So I challenge you today. Are you in a place that somebody can help you? People can help you. Stand by you, pray with you until you go through whatever you're going through, and you can then find yourself being established. Destiny International is that place. We want to stand with you. We want to pray with you. We want to be sure that the purpose of God in your life is fulfilled. We are those that God has called to bring men into their destiny in him. And so if you have a challenge, you have a problem, and you want prayer, you want us to stand with you, agree with you, be there, please let us know. Destiny International, 906 Avenue Air in Keddie. And you would love it. When you come to that place, you see people that show true love, concern, want to know how you are feeling, how you're doing. Those are how to get things going. So I want to invite you this tomorrow Sunday. I want you to come by 9:30. The service is up. We are having Bible study, and then by 10 o'clock the prophetic worship starts. And I want you to be part of what God is doing. Destiny is a home for everyone. It's a place that God is raising kings and queens, princesses. God is raising all kinds of people into greatness. And you will never ever regret being part of what God is doing in Destiny International, 906 Avenue Air in Kedu. So I want to see you on Sunday. And when you come, shake my hands. Tell me, I saw you on TV, I saw you online, and I'm happy that I'm here. Please make sure that you shake my hands. And I want to know you. And we will be able to say to you, this is a home. Welcome home. Destiny International is a home. And I want you to know, with God, all things are possible. We are champions because in us is the seed of greatness. Shalom. See you next Saturday, same time. For those of you on TV, for those of you online, I always come your way. God bless you. Stay connected. Shalom. Shalom. God bless you.
I don't know how much the devil has pushed you, but I came to say to you that there is a man who has a final say. Until he says it, it has not yet been said. No man concludes your matter before God says something over it. In the name of Jesus, as you walk out from this place, you are walking into a new season, a new day, a new hour, a new resurrection. Somebody shout, Jesus!